The hive mind learns, doesn't it? I notice when I do certain things that everyone shifts. Like when I stood up fucking with the final fucking solution to the mask wearing problem, people definitely fucking look the other way when they notice I'm not wearing masks. No one, of course, last time I said no one's gonna fucking tell me to wear a mask again, they started it again. But at this point, felt like when I stood up the other day, they were really prepared to stand down. Ever since then, fucking, you stand up to these people, whatever you're doing. Apparently, this hive mind learns really fast. And the only people really fucking pressure me to wear masks are the martial arts school. And I suppose the hive mind understands they have fucking a whole room of fucking trained professionals and they could stand a chance fucking against me. Although at the same time, I've learned all their tactics, haven't I? Well, they haven't seen anything I've done, and I've acted like a buffoon the whole time. They probably think I'm some fucking warrior, fucking who's never gonna fucking be able to be a warrior. And it's like, I'm just fucking A, socially awkward, and B, like, I'm not gonna come in here like I'm your fucking master and I know everything. Like, I'm gonna come in here with a fucking fresh slate, and you're gonna teach me everything you know, and I'm not gonna teach you shit I know. There's only a couple people I've interacted with my own fighting style. That's the people who taught me, which I suggest it's one of them. Warner, you ever heard the name Time Warner? Warner taught me how to fight. Fucking... told you guys they're in my life. But that just sounds like crazy people talk, doesn't it? But how fast, like this hive mind, am I the only one who just now figuring out everyone has some sort of hive mind? And like, what's my role in it? I'm locked out of the hive mind, like, because what? I'm not a human, I'm a hybrid, the God Force doesn't interact with the hive mind, we don't impede with your fucking abilities. What is it? How come everyone else seems aware and connected to this hive mind? And the only thing I have is like fucking thousands of fucking years of knowledge, which I guess one could say I'm highly connected to the hive mind at that point. Because no one in the hive mind seems to be connected to that level of fucking knowledge. Maybe everyone in the hive mind gets a different role of the hive mind, just like the ants, like Barak, the Gentile side of his family, his father said, the whites are like ants, and they work together as a colony, and so. The ants have no clue what they're doing, do they? But they have a hive mind, and they sacrifice themselves for their queens. They are truly fucking ants, aren't they? Fucking... I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. Because the men act like fucking buffoons when they're not being fucking put to work. Women fucking lay down that strict killer discipline. There was like no interaction with the fucking queen. You just get your ass back to work, or she'll fucking eat you, literally like ants. And see, I've been saying that the Europeans, some of them remind me that they're designed after the horses. See, maybe I've been looking at this all wrong. I've been saying the humans are designed after animals. It's like, no, not just animals, rodents and insects, apparently. They're all interconnected designs. Everything's like an interconnected design. Like, every design was created by the same mind, by the same ideas. It's very limited. This world is ever so limited. It's a small world after all. That song doesn't just mean when you go to when you go to Florida, you're like, hey, look, like, yeah, that wasn't that far away, actually, And then on your way to Florida, you're like, huh, every city I go to has this. Every fucking city I go to has a city with the same name, and every street in that city is named after a street I already know. It's the same thing over and over. It's like if we looked at anthills, like, how are they designed? They're designed. If we look at tigers, how do they live? It's how they live. If we look at birds, how they nest, it's how they nest. But back to the hive mind. It's hard to discuss this shit. I don't know. Or I'm just seeing. And if it's a hive mind, that explains why. That could very well explain that people within the hive mind are unaware they're a hive mind. But I've been talking about like manifestation and things appearing before me, and I want to know who that is, who those hands are behind that. And ever since fucking seeing the hive mind, I wonder if you guys aren't like actually really helping me knowingly, like placing this shit. Like now I've analyzed the time frames of materialization, manifestation, and it seems it's placed in time too. So there's not just a hive mind here. Dare I say, some of us can travel time. And you know what? The hive mind has told me that I'm the time traveler. And that makes a lot of sense. That all the protection and the stops in the way and everything I asked for materializing, looking back at my past, like, that could explain this and that. The fact that I asked for this now and it appeared late, it was always there. The hive mind has definitely told me a couple times I'm the one they're looking for. And a couple, maybe less than that, that I can fucking manipulate time. And they say travel time. I use the word manipulate time. I'm not sure what's going on yet. And of course, I've been informed that I'm not allowed to know everything because I run my mouth too fucking much. And I'll slowly be shown everything. When the time comes that I need to access it, I'll understand it. Think of the movie Terminator. Like, did John Connor's dad know that he was going to fucking travel back in time when he was just a soldier in the war? Did he know he was going to have to make that sacrifice and lead the resistance to travel back in time to create the future, to stop the future? So, he probably didn't know that, right? I've continually asked, to be shown, and I've asked for all of you guys to be shown as well, and then, of course, that just reverts to me fucking telling you guys, telling other people, what's going on. I continually ask for everyone to be enlightened, and then it's like, it's my job to fucking do it. It's my job to educate people on what's going on in this world. I guess many of these outlets say, as a light worker, that is my job. And then I'm told as a leader, I'm not supposed to lead people. I'm supposed to create other leaders who lead people. That all fucking ties in to my bad attitude, which is often just me fucking provoking people to find intent and shit like that. Not necessarily, I mean, bad attitude fucking probably exists, but it's under control, and until something is subverting it, it's under control. It's there enough to let me know it's there, and things in this world are there enough to let me know that I've been given a purpose, and everything is done with intent and in purpose. But does anyone else like understand that you guys are like part of a hive mind? Like the Europeans, I think. Some of the stories are telling me that we're different species, and we were gathered here on Earth by slave masters, and we don't know our past. We don't know who we are. I mean, we can see we don't know who we are. Everyone's history keeps being erased. Like every 7 years, they erase. I forget the name of it. There's already been someone who gave it a name. The cycle of language, discarding language, like you guys call it nowadays, like cancel culture. Like cancel culture is not new. See, this is a bit of a bullshit when they're fucking telling you this is new. Cancel culture isn't new. It happens every 7 years. They're erasing our minds. They're erasing our histories. And it's happening to all people of the world. And when they pit us against one another, we go in there and we erase everyone else's history fucking for whoever it is that wants us to erase the fucking history. And it doesn't matter if the enemy has a history, you shouldn't fucking erase it. You should definitely remember the history, because that is very telling of what those people are and what they can do and what they have done. And so it's clearly like, not the best intent, not the best decision. Like I said, maybe my role in the bigger things is the knowledge keeper, and the fucking the messenger, and maybe only I understand this, but erasing your enemy's history, going in there and destroying their temples and destroying their past might make them stupid, but it makes you stupid as well, and it's not good. And it's a shared fucking trait amongst all these people. Yet all these people have different fucking traits. All these groups, they're like the ants compared to the tigers, compared to the, dare I say, baboon, and someone apply that in a fucking meaning. I don't know anything about baboons, so I can't apply that. But let's just say, the baboon compared to the fucking mosquito, compared to the fucking the mice, compared to the trees. How do they all act differently and shit? How do they all do? They do differently. They know differently. So, what makes every group feel the need to erase the history of another? And it points fingers to a control. To maybe one group is telling everyone to erase everyone else's history. Because the ants act different than the tigers. The tigers don't care if a deer fucking records its history. Like, Bambi's like, you know, today was a beautiful day. The sun was shining. I frolicked through the flowers. I ate some grass. I ate some berries off the blackberry bush. I accidentally ate some thorns too. And, yeah, it was a really good day. Except for, you know, a couple of us got killed by the tiger. And then the tiger would record his history like this. Like, you know, I woke up and, like, you know, batted the fucking cubs a couple times. And then I batted the misses. And then the miss fucking swiped me. And I fucking ran out into the field to go play around and hunt some deer. And so I laid wait in the field for 2 fucking hours. And then the deer came by. And the deer didn't know I was there because the deer are fucking halfway blind or something. The deer are oblivious to the tiger and its actions. Somewhat. And, you know, the deer doesn't live in fear of a tiger laying in wait in the tall grass 2 feet away from it, because the deer isn't thinking about laying in wait in the grass, so it's not its natural fucking thought process. So, bow, the tiger gets the fucking deer, and the deer's dead. And that's the tiger records that, and the tiger's like, and then I laid down in the grass and rolled over a few times, and I fell asleep next to the deer carcass. And then the jackals woke me up 2 hours later, surrounding me. And so, you know, they had already, you know, taken part of the deer carcass, and I was kind of pissed at that. So I was like, well, if you took the deer carcass, I guess I'm going to have to eat you. So we had a little battle with the jackals. You know, I got a bite taken out of my leg, took down about 2 jackals, and probably wounded 3 others. And then they ran away. And then, you know, so the tiger eats its meal, and then it goes back to the fucking cubs and the misses, and fucking probably tries to bat the misses a few times, and the misses swipes it again, and it just rolls over, and it's like, well, time for bed now. You see how both those groups have a completely different interaction with the world and a different experience with the world. And I see the humans as the same way, or what we're told humans. We're classifying everyone as the same group here. And I'm not sure how accurate that is. I mean, again, we have to take everything these people are telling us and throw it in the trash and start from anew, because it's been tainted. Everything they say, it might be filled with knowledge, but it's been tainted by them as well. So it's not like our friend. It's not. When you put poison in the well, you stop drinking from the well. You don't take the water out and hope you just got the water that didn't have a little bit of poison in it. You fucking, you know, you fucking throw it away. And then from there on, when you go to another well, you might want to, you know, sample the water first. Does that really taste like water? It doesn't taste like. That's from the sink. Where's the chlorine taste? I'm living in the city. We've had the chlorine taste every day. We've had that fresh, clean chlorine taste. Delicious. And then you go to the country and you get that. You know, you just drink the water and you're like, fucking eggs for breakfast. You get that nice sulfur taste. And you're like, delicious. Now I smell like rotten eggs. Just showered in that. Fucking. And then if that sulfur taste is gone, you'd be like, maybe there's something wrong with the water. If the chlorine taste is gone, you're like, maybe something's wrong with the water. But every well you go to, after you learn the first one is poison, you move on, and you might want to sample the water first before you fully partake in it. And if it tastes even slightly off, you might be like, that's, there's more water to be had. Maybe there's some standing water over here that tastes like dirt that I should drink from instead. Maybe you got a life straw Alex Jones has given you. He's here to save the day with his life straw. Only $99.99. 8 uses per life straw. Eight fucking cups of water. You can almost shower with that. Fucking. But would that really remove the poison from the well? You should still fucking worry. Of course, who knows what the water is going to taste like after the life straw as well. It's not going to taste like chlorine anymore, is it? It's not going to taste like sulfur anymore, is it? The point is, you learn that well is poison, and you gotta sample the next well you drink from, because how'll that well get poisoned? Maybe I know better at this point. So when we're listening to them and their stories, or any story, me, them, anyone, you have to listen for the poison in the well. You have to look for it. You have to taste it. You might want to sample. You might want to put it into action and see how it works. It's one of the tricks of Alex Jones. He teaches you to fucking bat people away. He teaches fucking hate, and he teaches disrespect. And I'll tell you who doesn't fucking. I'll tell you, fucking white people, fucking the ants, with the queen and all, like, they learn from fucking that type of shit. But to an extent, the queen ain't gonna fucking learn from that. The missus ain't gonna learn from that type of technique and shit. The missus wants to be the fucking queen, feels they are the queen, because they're the queen of their fucking colony. They're the queen of their fucking species and shit. And not everyone else. The tiger, definitely. The tiger gets swiped by the fucking missus. And I guess tiger's a bad analogy, because it's kind of like similar to the ant in a way. So maybe we look at a different group where things are different. I'd say praying mantis, but are we kind of looking at the same design? Again, I'm just brought up four, if we include white people, European people. Let's say European people, because white is like a shade that some people use to disguise their self with. We might know who I'm speaking of. Many do not, though. So, unfortunately, I go to events and they're like, "Our white allies here," and I want to speak up so badly and be like, "There's white allies here? I don't see any white people." And then they'll be like, "Oh, look at all these." And like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see any European people." Fucking. But we look at these groups, and they have these different abilities. And of course, I'm being highly programmed and just repeating the only stuff I can learn on this earth. Sometimes fucking I'm being laughed at for fucking repeating everything I fucking hear. Like, all the time. I'm being laughed at for this shit. Like, people will just be like, anon voices pop up. Or maybe not so anon sometimes. And be like, you'll just fall for every fucking story we give you, won't you? And the story will go on and on, because we'll just keep fucking changing it. Like, but at the same time, it's really not a changing story. It's more like a learning process. And I can't help but think that these people are blood linked to the, and many of them are visually recognizable as blood linked to this third party, to the human conflict. And you know, a lot of times it's just stuff that I've been seen before, has been reasserted in my head. But these are like the only stories we have to go on. I could just fabricate my own fucking thing, and I kind of have to some extent. I see the, you know, Jesus said, do not take heed of Jewish fables. So, I mean, is he telling us don't believe in his own story? I mean, of course Jesus would tell us to fucking be careful. Like, if Jesus was here, is that the correct term anymore? If the Son of God was here, is he not here? I guess no one knows, because if he were here, he would be completely covered up, just as the book says. And I can tell you, they have these systems in play to completely cover people up, because I've been a victim of this cover-up, and I knew I'd be a victim of this cover-up, so I merely set forth to document the entire cover-up and the control scheme, the media control, the riot control, the rebellion control, and it's led to me seeing control at stores, control at fucking gateways to stores, control at bars and clubs and events, control in the technology, control. I mean, it's led to me seeing such vast power control. Like, I still answer the questions, or ask the question, are the humans capable of self-thought? Do they really have free will? And the hive mind theory really explains the Europeans' inability to think outside of the box, because the hive mind, and I've seen the way some of the other ones interact, that they have some sort of more open will. But generally, when I look at species, insects, animals, whatever, they are rather controlled. Some of them are adaptive, you know, on set parameters. Even the people I speak of that we cannot speak of, they seem almost more controlled than everyone else, more limited, and maybe really that is their ability and power, is what we see, the deception. Maybe that is their method, their wickedness, their unrelenting unrepentance. Unforgiveness. You know, Jesus said he fucking whipped the bankers and chased them out of the fucking temple. And, you know, what we know mostly of him is he spoke of the ways. They said he spoke of the leader's ways. And the book really doesn't go into what he spoke of at all. Like, when we look into some of these books, who are supposedly people who have opposed the power structure, the books, the written words, leave out the findings of these saviors of the world. It gives it credit while taking away credit at the same time, because it's like, they're telling you about these people, but they're really not telling you what they said. You know, Jesus was a sorcerer. He tried to do everything In my understanding, that means he tried to mimic the methods they showed the world behind closed doors and shit. Like, you see all the stars in the media, you know, drawing up like the Kohanim priest symbol, like Illuminati. It goes farther back than Illuminati. That's the Pharisees and the Sadducees who did that shit. When you see them doing that in Hollywood, they're not praising Illuminati. That's just another fucking name they've developed. Like I said, every 7 years the history is erased. That was like, Illuminati was 200 years ago or something, which was like 2,000 years after Jesus. 2,000 years after the time of the Kohanim priest class. And really, when we even look at yesterday, we have a hard time deciphering what was there and what was not, and what was real and what was not. And in a large part, we could say it's due to this 7-year cycle where the vernacular, the languages, the history, everything gets erased. The cancel culture. Again, the cancel culture is not new. It's a repetitive cycle. It's one of the cycles of the world. In fact, it's one of the things that, chips at the cycle structure. It allows us to look at the cycle structure and see that maybe the cycles, some of them, or all of them, are controlled. And they aren't real cycles of the world, and they're illusions were shown. Again, some people think we're in a dome, and we're on a prison planet. Other people think we were brought here and made as prisoners. And one group of them bragged that, it's like a reality TV show and we're pretty much enslaved. We just have no fucking clue. And they're going to kill us off when we wake up to who these groups are and decide to do something about it. And they have these end time stories in place. And these end time stories, some of them develop an opposition to the control grid. And those people become the adversary. They become the enemy. And then, whatever power it is they have, they might have the power to fucking pull out some crazy shit, crazy sorcery type shit none of us have ever seen. And surely defeat whoever opposes them. Maybe they have that. And then they're the saviors because the evil person came to fucking teach them. But, good thing the real savior came to fucking, conquer the evil. The hive mind, is that like what's in play that is making things materialize for me? Because sometimes the timeline is off. So the hive mind couldn't have done that so fast, right? Unless they have access to the time as well. Unless one of these groups have access to altering situations in time as well. I mean, and again, it could be me who has that ability to alter the timeline. And I try to test everything in this world because clearly, like, I'm on the path to understanding it, and I'm the one with the time and the resources, little as they may be, Although larger resources would probably prevent my path and make me sit around and enjoy life rather than study it and, have limited ability. It makes me wonder if the hive mind is not involved in helping me, if they don't see me as their ally, and they are like, maybe I'm fucking ratting them out too. So maybe I shouldn't even talk of this shit. I get more worried by the day that it's time for me to shut up. Of course, a lot of times, some of these voices telling me to shut up, some of these people, these accounts telling me to shut up, are speaking in a manner which I only know them to speak in, and the ones who I assume possess the hive mind are generally trying to be peaceful, savage as they are, brutal as they can be. They try to be somewhat of a noble people, and whatever I have become has scared them to fucking death to some extent. Maybe it's just the association with me that scares them to death because I'm talking about all this shit. Maybe it's like the more I come out in the open about who I am, the more certain groups have to fear association with me, and other groups just outright fucking fear me. And I do kind of see like differences in this. There are people who hang their heads in shame that reflect fear, and there are groups who fucking tremble, who fucking are enamored with fear. It's like their fucking badge of honor when I come around sometimes. Sometimes this is like the only thing that even keeps me from thinking about killing myself 24 hours a day instead of just 22 fucking hours a day. Being able to see these subtle differences, and that there might actually be some difference in these people and in how they act, and the ability to fucking remold them into their former glory or some sort of glory, some previously non-existent glory they could have obtained, but they've separated themselves. And you see, I'm even fucking going into the stories here. And I'm not going into these stories because I read the Bible. And people are like, these Christians are like, you need to accept Jesus and fucking repent. And I'm just like, dude, like, you guys are fucking devils for real. Like, this is some adversary shit. The word Satan means the adversary, and you are the adversary when you fucking approach people like that and shit. You are the enemy. I don't give a fuck what Jesus said, or the rules of the fucking land, or you fucking learn some respect for other people. You give them respect. Like when I'm on here trying to disrupt people's fucking thought process and say, hey, you fucking moron, it's time to wake up. I gotta say, that's probably Alex Jones programming me to do that, because that was never in my programming in the past. I never fucking broke to any of these fucking conditionings that other humans have. But I knew like that's what separated me from the Alex Jones Truther Crawl, was seeing this poison which has afflicted my fucking mind. And I haven't even really tried to take it out of my mind yet. I should probably work on that a lot more. I guess I have. I'm not fucking calling anyone a stupid sheep. I'm, trying to disband accounts and create new me's and shit. And I'm being offered those opportunities too, to throw away everything I've done and create a new me. And then I'm like, I can only guess who is offering me the opportunity to throw away everything I've done and fucking create a new me where I can have vast wealth and be loved and enamored and have fame. And I just look at the people in charge of some of these groups, modeling and talent agencies, tell me, we're going to need your social media if you're going to work with us. You got what it takes to be a star. You know, you can go far. You have different loves and all this stuff. And it's like, well, I don't disbelieve that for a minute. These cameras, by the time I'm seeing something different right now, and we'll probably show up in this video and it'll look like a horrible fucking beast. But I mean, you can see before 2 years ago, my pictures and shit generally displayed something else. I could see, like, I've been asked to be part of this bigger culture of fame and Hollywoodism. I've been invited into the inner circles of the government in Hollywood. I've rejected that shit. But I mean, if this change doesn't happen real soon, then I could really use the money today to fucking help my ass out. Because I'm living nowhere near what people think I'm living when they see me. But is the hive mind helping me? Like, and I suppose, like, that's not a good idea to answer that. So, why even ask the fucking question? Why even provoke someone to be dumb enough to fucking answer that question? Because if they have access to the hive mind by being hybrids with us, then, or with this group, then at this point, I mean, they already know I'm suspecting this, and they're probably already, you know, suspecting it themselves because I'm fucking suspecting it, period. But is this manifestation? Is this some sort of time alteration? Is it hive mind? Is it like all of the above happening? Because things I never noticed things around me. I only like kind of studied people and kind of studied a different world that no one sees. Kind of always lived off of Earth, retarded, whatever you want to call it, autistic, fucking. I love the labels. The labels keep me fucking safe from myself and from other people. I love it. Just fucking. I was shown that the first time I asked, what's the point of me being this fucking retard on this planet? And they showed me, like, being a retard protects you from this planet. Because everyone thinks you're just a fucking loony. And no one suspects anything else. And I've been shown in other ways how that helps me as well. I mean, it definitely has helped me. And then I look at the people who fucking kind of set me up in those positions, and one of them definitely was a light worker. One of the ones who pushed me into those situations. He had a gun, but the gun and the cages probably had a lot to do with my willingness to accept the light worker's help. But looking back, I understood, like, right away when I began to ask the questions that I was, you know, put in those positions for a reason. And just how much it helps me to be viewed as a loony nutbag. Like, I never used to talk, so no one really viewed me as that, and I never really used to know. That's why I didn't talk, because I didn't know. As a child, you know, growing up with people who are now long gone, you know, certain groups of people used to value shutting up and listening to your elders, and you don't know anything because you're a child, so just shut up and listen and watch how things work. It used to be a common thing, but Edward Bernays and pals wanted to break up the fucking family structure and wanted their government to fucking come in and change it with freedom torches and fucking torches of freedom, and break the families apart, make the women break the men, and all that fucking shit. You can just read the book Propaganda, and Edward Bernays will tell you himself what he said and what he did. And he wasn't just some idiot, he wasn't just another Stephen King. He wrote books and he led society. So that breaking up of the family and their ideals and everything, really fucking changed everything. So now no one is raised to shut the fuck up until they become educated, and the kids are being raised by adults who are fucking who were raised outside of that fucking structure, and I just happen to be lucky enough to get raised by an older person and shit. I can never discredit my father for not being there, because that allowed the placement of an older person to be the person who raised me. And like, this society wants and needs that discipline and that honor and that respect in those ways, because society was built upon those ways, and we see society collapsing now, and no one has those ways anymore. So I'm not I try never to discredit my father, and I also look at the situation and the possibilities of what really happened. Was I being raised by two groups of people, and one group was maybe wicked in their ways, another group was disciplinary in their ways, and they had conflicts, blah 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 blah. Enough about me. Fucking, that's my problem to figure out. Fucking, like, am I a product of the story of Astor, of the story of Trump and Clinton and Barack? Am I a byproduct of that, where you just marry into the bloodline of the best of the Gentiles in order to fucking destroy that bloodline? I don't really see those things in the end as legit, because I see myself as a different entity amongst the people, and I've never fit in. Of course, I don't think the knowledge I have comes from the hive mind. I think it comes from a single mind. I think it comes from a mind that is above the hive mind, that has created the hive mind. But I mean, has anyone else seen this hive mind? I said, studying hive minds, like ants or anything, kind of. They know what they're doing. No, they're just doing it. But I've asked some of these people, like, I've watched people put stuff out, and I've been like, I'm like, hey, what's up? They're like, that's cool stuff, man. I gotta get that. And I'll be like, do I know you? Well, more accurately, I ask people, do you know me? Because the way some people act. And the response is always no. They don't know me. But I still ask the question because there's something going on. There's the ant doesn't have to know the other ants to carry the soil where the soil has to go. The other ant doesn't have to know the other ant who's carrying the soil to know where the crumb it's carrying is going. Does the ant even... They told us for a while ants don't even have fucking brains. Of course, this is science, so science says one thing, says another. Confusing group. Of course, ran by the usual suspects, too. So, probably built to be confusing from the start. I mean, they don't even fucking know the human body, and they've supposedly been dissecting it for hundreds of years. My ass, there's a deception that they just found a new pump in the human body. Oh shit. You've never even taken apart the human if you just fucking found a new fucking pump in it. And the main thing, it being a source of bullshit, is it's ran by the same people who run every other source of bullshit. Who fucking seem to run everything somehow. And the ant doesn't see the tiger, right? Does the ant walk around worried that, oh no, here comes a tiger, it's gonna fucking kill us all? Does the tiger even notice the ant? Maybe when it's crawling on it, but the tiger doesn't notice the ant when it fucking goes up there and fucking bounding about like, hey look, we're gonna go play with some gazelle today. Is the tiger worried on its way to find the gazelle pack it's seen yesterday? Is the tiger like, what if I step on these ants? The tiger doesn't even think about the ants. It's doing its tiger thing. Fucking, it's bouncing around like Tigger does, right? Tigger's not like bouncing around on his tail like, oops, better avoid those ants. It's like oblivious to the frickin' ants. And the ants are pretty much oblivious to the frickin' tigers. I don't think the humans lack the mental capacity to understand this stuff, though. I know they're being locked out of knowledge. It's not a thought. It's a knowledge. It's a know to know that the humans are being locked out of knowledge. It's a repeated pattern. It's a cycle of destruction of their past learning. Supposedly thousands of years old, probably millions. And they can barely remember what happened last year. No one knows in 2020 what happened in 2019. They just know it's quite a different year. What happened in 2019? Even I don't remember. The most memorable things of 2019 for me was infiltrating the power structure, and then all the gifts given to me with the gang signs all over them and shit, with the Illuminati markings on them. Fucking being given masks in advance, long before everyone else was, for free of all things. And then going to a masquerade ball on New Year's Eve where it was, it was far out of the way and there really wasn't anything else in my large ass city, so or at least being shown to me. So the thing I was shown to, I attended far away, and it was a masquerade ball, which means everyone wore a mask, like everyone is doing today, and it was themed around a futuristic dystopian society where everyone wore a mask, but everyone was wearing masks so the government couldn't identify them. All these cameras everywhere. At the end of the day, the mask is fucking protecting some of us. We might think that, but I can see people through the mask. I can see who people are through the fucking mask. And I think that's why when I'm at Black Lives Matter and these third party are there, they're not wearing masks. When I'm at Open Ohio as well, in 2020 in general, they're not just wearing masks, they're all wearing glasses too. I think they think the glasses protect them from people who can see them. And I'm not sure about any of you who have been able to see them and identify them quickly. But for me, I don't need to see the eyes, I don't need to see the mouth structure, I can see the entire facial fucking structure. And yeah, they hats, glasses, mask, you can see that these people in these positions, it's almost like they're trying to prevent people from recording them and documenting who they are, which is odd because that's what I've been doing. That's the whole point of it. I didn't think fucking they'd let me on TV to be a presidential candidate. I didn't think that at all. I think I stated that from the start. I didn't know just how controlled these media events were. But I had seen enough that by the time it was shoved in my face that I was like, oh, that's how it's done, isn't it? And it didn't surprise me at all, and it was just instantly I fucking learned their methods. Again, for being like the wisest people, they control everything because they're so much more better than you or I. They're so much more intelligent than you or I. For being these groups of people, that's not the case. I see less in them than other people on many levels. Now, there's different types of intelligence, and but imagine if tigers formed colonies like ants. Goodbye humans. Goodbye gazelle. Goodbye deer. Fucking tigers would rule the world. And tigers would probably fucking have nothing left to eat, and they'd die off. And then the world would be empty. So they don't have the fucking hive mind, because tigers would be like a deadly fucking force. More the lion would share a partial hive colony, should I say. At this point, I'm talking about colony and not the hive mind trait. If the tigers shared a colony trait, as opposed to a lone wolf type trait. The lions do possess more of this colony type trait than the tiger, and that's what makes the lion more successful in the King of the Jungle. I don't think at all it's because the lion would win against the fucking tiger in a battle. It's because the lion has a pack with it. The lion has a colony with it. And they win based upon that. Whereas the tiger is just like, fuck you, I'm like the real king, and I'm gonna run around by myself and just, like, we're all fucking kings, we're gonna do our own thing. And the lion's like, well, maybe we aren't the king, but if we organize, we can definitely be the rulers. kind of weird how that analogy can play back into this. And then we have the Lion of Zion, the symbol of these people, the symbol they take on. See, it's like they already know things that some of us are far away from understanding or just learning. But at the same time, you know, my understanding of them as a tiger fucking is that they do not